I remember seeing this movie 7 years ago in the theater, being an absolutely emotional wreck at the end, and it still has the same effect on me. So there's that going for it. Logan was released in 2017, directed by James Mangold, starring Hugh Jackman, Patrick Stewart, and Daphne Keane. And this was a huge deal back when it first released. I was very excited for it. I grew up with Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and this was his last movie as Wolverine until July this year, but we'll get to that when that movie comes out. So seeing him hang up the claws, it was a big deal for me and a lot of other people. So let's go ahead and start this review off with the good. And there is so much to love in this movie. First of all, Hugh Jackman as Logan, absolutely fantastic. I love this portrayal of Logan. This is probably his best portrayal of Logan so far. And I just love the more world-weary, beaten down character that he plays in this movie. This is a character who's been around for hundreds to maybe even thousands of years, and he's just ready to die. He has lost all his friends, and he's just waiting for death. And I just really love the way that he plays this character, and the way that he kind of learns to be a hero again by the end of the movie. It's just really touching. Hugh Jackman, honestly, really deserved an Oscar nomination for this movie, but yeah, he was absolutely fantastic. Patrick Stewart is back as Professor Xavier as well, and he is much more different than his past portrayals as well. His mind is fading, he's going crazy, he's not making sense a lot, and it's really heartbreaking to see this character like this, but I really love the way that Patrick Stewart played the character as well. He's more grumpy, he's more fuck off, I don't want to talk to you type character. I love the way he played it, and I loved his exchanges with Logan. They worked absolutely fantastic together, and I thought that his death scene was absolutely heartbreaking, but it was very, very impactful. Few new characters in here. First of all, you got Daphne Keane as Laura, or in the comics, she's known as X-23. I thought she was great. I would like to see her again as this character, but I thought she was fantastic. She doesn't really talk a whole bunch in the movie until a little past the halfway point, but she did a fantastic job with her nonverbal performance. She's ferocious, and I love her back and forth with Hugh Jackman as well, especially when he first finds out she could talk. Absolutely hilarious scene in a movie that kind of needed a bit of comedic levity here and there. And then their final scene together, absolutely terrific, absolutely heartbreaking. I loved it. You get Stephen Merchant as Caliban, and he doesn't have a whole bunch in this movie, but he's a fun screen presence when he is on screen. And then you have the villains of this movie, and you got three villains. First of all, you got Boyd Holbrook as Donald Pierce, and he's a fun villain. Boyd Holbrook is a very underrated actor, so I was excited for Donald Pierce, and I thought that he delivered. He had fun with the role, and that's just something that I can appreciate out of him. He doesn't really do a whole bunch action-wise, but I still thought that he did a good job with what he did do. And then the other two villains. First, you have X-24, played by Hugh Jackman. It's a much younger, more violent, more ferocious version of Logan. He kind of just existed to give Logan a final boss fight, but I thought that Hugh Jackman did great playing the dual roles, the older Wolverine and the younger Wolverine. I thought that he did great with both. When he first showed up, I thought it was Sabretooth, honestly, because of the haircut. I thought they'd somehow got Liev Schreiber back, but it was just a Hugh Jackman duplicate. But regardless, I really liked him. And honestly, my favorite villain in this movie is going to be Dr. Rice, played by Richard Grant. And Richard Grant is just a class actor. I love everything he's done. Even his throwaway role in Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, he did the best he could with the role, and I just gotta respect that. I love the more sinister side of his character. Kind of a shame we didn't get Mr. Sinister in this movie since they work for the Essex Corporation, but we don't get Nathaniel Essex. But regardless, I loved the characters we did get as the villains in this movie. And aside from the characters, this is just a really great story. Like I said, it's just a more broken, battered, world-weary Wolverine waiting for death and having to take on a job and learning to be a hero again. And that's just something that I really, really loved about this movie because it knew exactly what it needed to be. It's a beautiful, beautiful send-off to Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart. I loved both of their send-offs. And the action sequences in this movie are top-notch. This is full Berserker Rage Wolverine. We finally get the R-rated Wolverine movie that we've been waiting on, that James Mangold wanted to do with the Wolverine, and he was finally allowed to do it here. And I just really loved every bit of it. Loved it, especially the third act in the forest where he's just running through, shredding people up left and right, blood's flying everywhere. Fantastic scene. I love every second of it. And I really love the emotion behind this story, especially Wolverine's death at the end of the movie. I wasn't expecting them to actually kill off Wolverine at the end of this movie, but the way he dies in this movie was both heartbreaking and satisfying at the same time. The way he goes out, he's holding his daughter's hand, and he dies happy. It's just a beautiful, emotional scene, and I just love it. It's a fantastic scene. The soundtrack and the score, great as well, and the editing is top notch. James Mangold really gave us his magnum opus with this movie, so there's nothing for the bad section. I'm not even gonna go for that. So conclusion, final thoughts. I love Logan. I loved it 7 years ago. I still love it today. I know some people who have grown sour towards it in recent years. I don't get it. I love this movie to death. Logan is a top tier X-Men film, a beautiful send-off to Hugh Jackman's version of Wolverine, and I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. So that was my thoughts on Logan. Have you seen this movie? Let me know down in the comments what you thought about it if you have seen it. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.